Hello everyone and welcome to the orientation for our new statewide peer review format. I am Lynn Cook and I'm a forensic interviewer out of the Milwaukee Child Advocacy Center. I also am a contributor to and faculty member of the Wisconsin Forensic Interview Guidelines, and I'm just going to spend the next few minutes talking through our new format and what it might look like and what the expectations are from the participants. So to begin, we're going to be having a facilitated cohort model going forward. So this will consist of groups of up to 10 people. Each group is going to be facilitated by a trainer of our WeFig curriculum, and the administrative duties are going to continue to be handled by Elizabeth Champion of CACs of Wisconsin. We will for sure have at least one group meeting on the first Monday of each month, as we currently do, from 9 to 10:30, and then we're going to evaluate the needs of other participants to see if there's other days or times that we can offer for additional groups. So some of the requirements for participation. The first one is that you must have completed a 32-hour forensic interview program that was approved by the National Children's Alliance. So that's going to include our WeFig curriculum, Corner House, Child First, APSAC, NCAC. All of those have been approved. You must also actively be involved in conducting forensic interviews. We also want members to only focus on inviting their MDT members or other members of their team on days that they are the ones presenting. So if you're not presenting, it needs to just be you on the MDT. If you are presenting and you want some of your team members or MDT members to also participate, that's okay as long as you're the one presenting. You must attend at least 80% of the sessions. And everyone's going to sign up to present at least one time during the year. So we're going to create a calendar that includes each month of the year. We'll have a main person assigned and a backup person available. So each week we'll have 2 people prepared to present. The main presenter is last minute unavailable. There will be somebody in the queue ready to go. And we'll have a third option prepared if necessary, where we could go over potentially journal articles or research that's relevant in the field if we don't have someone available to present. But everyone must sign up to present and must present at least one time during the year. If you're not available, it's the presenter's responsibility to arrange any switches to the schedule. And you must complete this orientation, which you are currently doing. So the agenda each month is going to look like this. We're going to have the background of the interview. So the presenter is going to talk about how the case came to them, the basic facts of the case, if there was anything unusual that needed to be considered. And then they're going to have a specific request for feedback. So why this interview was challenging and what they're looking for feedback on. Then they're going to play a segment of the interview that's going to be less than 1 hour. So if it was an interview that was an hour and a half, you got to pick 1 hour of that interview to play. And then we're going to follow up with 30 to 45 minutes of feedback. So each participant, starting with the interviewer, because peer review starts with you, is going to go around and share 1 to 2 pieces of positive feedback and 1 to 2 pieces of constructive feedback. The environment. So I know a lot of people have been working from home more than usual, so the environment is really important to protect the confidentiality of the children that we see, but also the privacy of the interviewer that's presenting. So we want to make sure people are using headphones if they're in a room where other people are present or can hear the interview. We want people to ensure that their screen is not visible to other people around them. So we don't want to see other people walking around in the background of your camera. Your video can only be turned off while the interview is playing. So in the beginning when the person's introducing their video and at the end when we're all giving feedback, everyone needs to have their cameras on. We want people to stay muted while they're not providing feedback. And so now, how do we select an interview to present? So we want to make sure people are selecting interviews to present that they actually need help with. Do not show your best interview. We will gain very little out of you showing the best interview that you've ever done, and you also won't gain very much from it. So choose things that you need work on and challenges that you faced. Look for interviews that contain interviewing dilemmas that can generate meaningful discussion for the participants. So maybe barriers like reluctance, challenging behaviors like kids that are angry or hyperactive, use of tools like body diagrams or drawings, maybe work that you did with a challenging population, someone that was bilingual, preschoolers, teenagers, children with communication or developmental issues, those sorts of things. So when we're providing feedback, there are several goals. We want to make sure we're reinforcing the positive interviewing skills. So whatever the interviewer is doing well, we want them to know to continue to do that. We want to recognize interviewers' efforts, even if it lands flat or isn't effective for that particular child. We want to acknowledge what they did well and what they were trying to do. And then we want to provide ideas and strategies to add to not only the interviewer's toolbox, but all of our toolboxes. We want to advance trusting relationships with our colleagues across the state. And we want to learn from each other. And mainly we want to improve on our own skills as interviewers. We're never done learning. So the guidelines to providing feedback, you have to be specific. So just saying great job isn't meaningful absent affirmative and constructive feedback. It's not productive. So if you're going to say great job, we need to say specifically what they did a great job on. We want to discuss the behavior and the prompts of the interviewer, not the person or personality traits of the interviewer. So we want to focus more on what the interviewer is saying and what the interviewer is doing, not who they are. We want to avoid rambling. So we want to be concise and prepared. So while you're watching the interview, you're going to generate a list of points so that if another participant makes a point on your list, you will still have other feedback to provide, and you can just cross things off and just go down to your next bullet point. Because we're not going to repeat points that were already discussed. We don't want to be repetitive or duplicative. We want to give alternatives along with critiques. So if you're going to say something that you think could have been done differently or better, we need to explain what we might have done. We want to affirm support of the presenter, like thank you for sharing this video today, or thank you for talking about this particular subject. We want to be productive and focused on the future. So instead of saying, I wish you would have or wouldn't have, we want people to be saying things like, maybe next time you could try, or in the past I've done this, or I've heard someone else say this. And keep in mind that some interviewers may be trained in different guidelines or might be cross-trained on multiple guidelines. So if you see an interviewer doing something you haven't seen before, we want to ask where that's coming from. And we want to tell people at the beginning of our presentation what we're trained in, what guidelines we are trained in. When we're receiving feedback, we want to make sure to focus on the content of the message and not the person delivering the feedback. Again, focus on the future and not the past. We all make mistakes and we all have room for improvement. Ask what you could change or do better, not what you did wrong. There's no perfect interview. We want to take notes and welcome suggestions. And we also want to avoid defending or over-explaining the decisions or choices that we've made, because really no one knows what it was like to be in that room with that kid at that time with the information you specifically had